Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Matt's Model Shop. Today we're going to continue on the saucer, and as you can see I had a whole bunch of light leaks here, so when I get really bad light leaks on areas like this, a lot of times I'll paint them over in black just to make sure that none of the light leaks through. I'm still getting just a little tiny bit through, right here. There's a little bit in the seam, but for the most part it's really covered now, so I'm going to repaint the black with gray primer to kind of lighten it up a little bit, and also to get rid of any of the last light leaks. The other place that you get a lot of light leaks is through these little thingies here, but the good thing is when you paint the details on this, I usually paint these in a gunmetal or a black, which does a pretty good job of light blocking them anyway, so that's not going to be too big of a deal, I don't think. Famous last words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hit this with some gray primer, and then we'll wet sand it and see how it looks. And if we've gotten rid of all of our light leaks, then we will go ahead and hit it with our white. Yeah, see, I do have power hooked up, and as you can see, it actually looks pretty good for the most part. Remember, we're right up against it, and these are actually masked, so you can kind of see how they're gonna look. So yeah, pretty neato. So we'll hit that with some gray primer and see how it looks. So I will be right back, and we'll take it through the steps and I'll show you how it looks. So be right back. Okay, and we've managed to get our gray primer on, and it looks very good. In fact, the lighting is on right now, and it looks pretty sharp. So I think we're pretty much ready for our white primer, and we'll see if we can get this thing to match the top saucer. So that is next. So I will be back in a few moments, and we'll have it done in white primer, and we'll see how she looks. Be right back. Okay, and here we are with a coat of white primer. So I've actually primed it and sanded it, and it still needs, I think, one more coat. There's a couple of spots that you can still see a little bit of the dark showing through, but it's coming along very nicely. The bottom of the saucer is almost all set, so once we get the primer all done, then we'll focus on the top saucer, get it primed, and then we can start doing all the detail painting so we can get ready to close this thing up. Ooh, exciting. Closed saucer. So anyway, I'll be back in a bit. Oh, look at that beautiful primed saucer. Doesn't it look just shiny? So the bottom of the saucer is looking real nice and primed and white and ready to roll. And so now we turn our attention back to the top saucer, which is mostly primed and mostly light blocked. But when I was just checking it, we have a little bit of light leaks around the bridge, so I'm going to do the same treatment I did for the lower sensor dome. We're going to give it just a little bit of black, and then a little bit of gray, and then white, and that'll take care of that. So the rest of it looks pretty sharp. I don't see any light leaks, so I think we've done our duty on this one. But yeah, putting it together, it's going to look great. So I'm excited, actually. Also, if you recall, I did mask off under the bridge here, so when I pull that out, it'll be nice and bright under there. It'll actually look like it's supposed to. I didn't put a spotlight in, as you guys remember, on this particular build. Remember, this was supposed to be the easy build, but if you wanted to, you would just modify the bridge, move it forward a little bit, and then you can get a couple of SMDs in there to aim out the front and light up your registry real nice. But I just wanted to show you that you can have a real nice looking saucer without doing all that. So all right, I think it's time to go out and start priming this thing. Be back in a minute. And now the saucer is all primed and ready to paint. I actually need to go over it and wet sand it a little bit with some probably 800 grit to remove any of the primer junk, but it's looking really good. So now I have both sides of the saucer ready to roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the top and the bottom of the clear white, and then do all the detail painting. And that way I can put all of the interior sets in before I put it together without having to mask any of this stuff. So we're gonna try to do it that way and then glue it together once all the sets are in and it's all painted up, and hopefully we won't have too much of a problem with the edge here. So it's coming along though. The saucer is looking really sharp. I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out. So I'm going to go ahead and sand this down, and then we can go ahead and paint these with the pearl white and get them ready for detail painting. So I will be back shortly with that. Stay tuned. Okay, so last night I went ahead and painted on the pearl white, and I let it dry overnight. This is not wet sanded or anything. This is just straight out of the booth, and as you can see, it looks pretty good. So I did both the top of the saucer and the bottom, and both of them are looking, they've got that nice sheen going on. So both of these are ready for detail painting, mostly around the bridge area, a little bit on the lower sensor dome as well. You know, these little holes and these thingies and whatnots. So it's looking pretty sharp. We're kind of getting on the home stretch as far as the saucer is concerned, which is great. So once this is complete, we'll look at actually mounting it onto the secondary hull, which is sitting right there, all patiently waiting. So it shouldn't be too terribly bad to paint all this. I did it once before, although I wasn't a very good painter the last time I built one of these, so hopefully I've improved a little bit. But you just do the best you can and pick the colors as closely as you can so that it doesn't look terrible, you know. But all in all, I think this is turning out pretty nice, especially for, you know, not really making it the greatest refit in the world, just kind of building one out of the box. So the next time we see this, I should have the I'm going to try to get the bridge and the impulse deck all painted up, and maybe the phasers and things like that. We'll start getting this thing all gussied up. I'm also going to wet sand this with some, I think about 1500 grit, just to remove the top layer of grit and kind of smooth it all out. It should really help the overall look. The Tamiya paint used to be so great, and I think they changed their formula because it's not quite as good as it used to be. I'm not sure if there was something they had to change environmentally or what, but this is the stuff I used here. TS45 Tamiya color pearl white. So hopefully you guys have a little bit better luck than I did, but still it doesn't look too bad. So we'll go ahead and get moving on this, and I'll show progress updates as I go. So I'll be back in a bit. So on the studio model of the Enterprise, they did a lot of duck egg blue or light blue. The model kit calls for duck egg blue, which actually is a little too light. Although in some areas, like you can tell here, they have a darker blue than the pylon base here. So it's kind of hard to judge, you know, what color to use. I'm tempted to go with like a Tamiya light blue here, and then duck egg blue for the pylon bases, just to keep it kind of light. The Enterprise refit, these were still white. They were the color of the rest of the hull, but on the A they painted them, and this one I'm kind of doing up as the A. So we're kind of going to have to figure that out. But I'm pretty sure those are the colors I'm going to use, because if we go back over here, here's my two colors, and the Tamiya light blue is really a little, it's almost too dark, although once it's on the ship it doesn't really look that way. That's that color right there, you know. So when you take that and you compare it to the Aztec decals, it's, you know, pretty close. And then this is the duck egg blue. This is Model Master duck egg blue, and as you can see, it's really, really light. So I'm tempted to use these two colors as kind of a contrasty color. This is actually an acrylic, and this is an enamel, so The acrylic plays pretty well with just about anything. It's pretty nice. The enamel, not as much, but it should still work for what we're doing here. So we will put some of these colors down and see how it looks. I think I'm going to start with the secondary hull and work on the pylons and paint them up and see how it goes. So I'll be back in a moment and we'll check them out. Be right back. Okay, I'm back after doing some detail painting on the secondary hull here. As you can see, I've been working on the pylons. I tried the Duck Egg Blue, but as it turns out, the Duck Egg Blue from Model Master is almost like a mint green. It just doesn't really look right. You really have to have blue for the 1701A. The Duck Egg Blue would have worked great for the refit, but for this one, it's just not quite right. But anyway, I just used Tamiya Light Blue. I did try to lighten the front edge a little bit, but apparently I didn't get quite enough white in it because it looks almost the same, but that's okay. All in all, it's turning out pretty decent. Painting is my least favorite part of the whole process. And it's mostly because it's very messy and it's very difficult to get it to look right. I suppose if I had been doing it longer, I'd probably like it more, but you know how that goes. I still have to paint on the secondary hull. I have to do up here where it meets the saucer. And some of the little parts, like the nose here has a little bit of I think it's like a gray. I'll have to look again, and then the phaser banks in the back need to be painted, and the 4 on the bottom. So I also need to do all the fill-in work here. These are kind of a gunmetal or a black. On the 1701A, it's actually a lighter blue that goes in here, but I'm just going to do the black from the refit just because I think it looks a little better. I also need to go back to the torpedo vent and touch it up because it kind of got hit a little bit during the whole sanding, puttying, priming process. So we'll take care of that while we're there. But then once this is done, we'll get on the bridge and the lower sensor dome on the saucer, which looks fantastic. And then we can actually, if I want to, I can glue everything together and then start working on the nacelles. But we'll see where we go from there. I'll have to figure it out. Ooh, I forgot to remove my masks on the Arboretum. I got to do that. But anyway, it's turning out pretty decent. I'm actually kind of happy with how it's turning out. I love the way the shuttle bay lighting turned out. That looks pretty good. Considering it's very, very simple. It looks really, really remarkably good. So I'm going to wrap up this video. It's been a while since I've done a video. I've been incredibly busy at work still, so I'm trying to get back to modeling, a few times a week so that I can get this build series finished, because I'm really far along in the process now. I'd like to get it completed here sooner or later so that I have the full series up. But I'm going to try to get videos out a little more regularly, probably once every couple of weeks, and we'll see if we can keep to that schedule. I think I've got another probably between 5 and 8 episodes left in this before we can call it done. So and then I'll do, of course, a nice flyby, cool video where it shows it off. So I hope this has been of interest to you guys and that you're enjoying the build, and thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.